How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and this video is about the Hashashin class. We're not very far away from it being released in Korea. If memory serves me correctly, I remember hearing it was the 7th of July that it's coming out, so that's only 6 days away. On Tuesday, I think it's coming out. So yeah, the 7th of July is going to be Tuesday. I'd imagine that will be the date it's coming out in Korea. I don't think console's going to get it on the 8th. I know we have a patch on the 8th. However, I'll be extremely surprised to see the Hashashin the day after it comes out in Korea. I'd imagine for console it's going to come out on the 22nd. And before I continue this video, I know I am a partner with BDO. However, I have zero inside information about the Hashashin, and even if I did, I would not be able to share them in this form or any other because it would be against the NDA, and I don't want to lose my position there about being callous with information. So everything going to hear from me is not official. It's just some of it's from official sources. A lot of it's going to be really conspiracy about the Hashashin in quotation marks. We'll talk about that in a minute when we get there in the video. But let's start off with, on the official side of things, looking at their website or their Twitter account even. They got a little trailer. So let's check the trailer out together real quick.
The Black Star shall lead us all to paradise. We stand guard against the darkness, till the day we breathe our last. Hear me, for I am the curved blade of Art, the master who shall unleash his raging winds and sands.
Okay, that was pretty cool. July 8th for the character creator. So that's when we're going to be able to create a character for it. Did they just say for console? So pre-create Hashashin and get rewards July 8th. It's got Xbox and PS4, so I'd imagine this is just for Xbox and PS4, which then leads me more to believe that 2 weeks after that, when we get our next patch, so the 22nd, then we will be able to play him. You never know, they might give us a surprise on the 15th, but I'd picture it be more on the 22nd for us console players. I'm definitely going to be checking out the Korean streamers when this comes out, because I'm very interested to see what his skill set is, and we might have some insight to that, but again, it's all conspiracy. We'll get into it in a minute. So a friend of mine just last night sent me some clips on Hashashin. Now, I've seen a few different character creators of the Hashashin class, but I'm just gonna play the one that he sent me because I'm just too lazy to look for another one. And he also sent me a link about possible Hashashin skills. I'm really interested to look at this one. I haven't looked at it. I mean, I skimmed it earlier, but I didn't look at it properly. I'm going to try to do like a breakdown of my opinions of the skills when I see them and try to relate them to skills that we already know. But we'll get to that part of the video later. Let's check out the character creator. I think I got this at the right timestamp at the minute. Let me go back. Oh no, he's still doing some skills. So mostly it's just, I'm going to turn it down as well. Mostly it's just the character creator itself. However, we can, as you can see here, see some skills. Let me see if he does skills a bit earlier. No, he's just finished his character creation here. So we can see some skill animations that will most likely be a part of the final build. Tornado skill there. I don't know, mid-range. That's what I can see from that. This looks more of a long-range skill. Definitely, I'd imagine it's got some CSE to it. If not, at least super armor, because it's kind of a long animation. That was a quick skill there. Not sure what that could be. That's pretty cool looking. What I am noticing at the minute is longer animations. So you can definitely deal a lot of damage to him during these skills. But some of them are a bit shorter. That one was pretty short. And we don't know how cancelable these are either. There's also the skill we saw there. Whether that's an ultimate or an actual skill, we'll find out when the class gets released. And it's kind of just repeating the same skills now. And I think he's doing a similar thing here where he goes into the breakdown of this. I'll leave the link to this video in the description if you guys want to check him out. But now let's get into the document that my buddy sent me over here. But anyway, so let's get into the actual skills of the Hashashin. Now, obviously, all of this could be completely wrong. There's a lot of skills here that I'm assuming has been data mined. I don't exactly know where this information's come from. Like I said, a close friend of mine sent me this link in Discord. I've asked him where it's come from, but I think at the time that I asked him and the making of this video, it's a bit early for him, so it's probably still in bed. But either way, let's just look at it because I'm really excited, so maybe there's a few of you that are excited for this class, and even if it is hearsay, it could give us an idea because it looks pretty official to me. It looks very easily this could be fake, but at the same time, you know, it's a decent fake if it is. How are we doing, guys? I've created this table after looking at all the skills. I'm just going to shoehorn this in for you guys at the beginning in case you don't make it to the end of the video. If you want to have a pause it here and have a look at the video. In the C column, FG stands for forward guard, SA in the D column stands for super armor, IF in the E column stands for iframe, and then these are whether or not they have a CC on top. So does the forward guard have a CC? Does the SA have a CC? Does the iframe have a CC? And if so, it will be a protected CC. So you'll see noughts and crosses. Naught obviously means it doesn't, cross means it does. So this skill here, flow stroke, doesn't have a forward guard, does have a super armor, doesn't have an iframe. Therefore, it doesn't have, obviously, these two. If it doesn't have these two, then these two are obviously going to be, it doesn't have the CC applied to it either. But what it does have is a CC applied to the super armor. So we can say, yes, it's a protected CC. And then for extra information, we've got that the CC is a bound. So another thing you'll notice is there's some H's, some yellow bars highlighted in. This kind of means it is a protected CC. But whether or not how effective it's going to be, we're not going to really know until we see the animation times and when the class comes out. Because it's stuff like, you know, it's a knockdown but on last hit. If this is a long animation skill, people are going to walk out of your last hit. But if it's a short animation skill, then obviously it's very effective. That's why there's a H, and then there's going to be, like, in the extra information, because it's a stun on counter attack. So what I'm thinking is the opponent has to hit you, like the Musa block, for this stun to come in. So yes, it's a CC, but there are some conditions on the CC. It's not just a CC on hit. This one is a knockdown on last hit. Over here, knockdown on last hit. Over here, knockdown on last hit. Another thing here, if you look at these highlighted skills that are highlighted like orangey brown, these what look to me to be either the BSR or the ult. So I'm not sure which one's going to be the ult, which one's going to be the SR. You can probably, I'd imagine one of these, this one here is most likely the ult. It's got the most modifiers on it, and I think if you look at the damage, it had a lot of damage as well, and these are BSRs. But again, we won't know until the game comes out. So out of these three BSR/ult moves, you can see that they are protected CCs. Super armor CCs, all the BSRs are super armors, and the last one here is kinda because it's a last hit, but it doesn't have. Whereas this one is also a last hit, but the reason why I've given it like this is definitely going to be a great CC is because it also has a suck, which is another reason that leads me to believe that this one here is the ult. So it's going to suck everyone in to keep them in position, and then the last hit's going to CC them. And it's going to apply all these modifiers on it. So take that information as you will. And now for the quick breakdown of the table that we saw here. I do not take in any of the BSR/ults in here. So those numbers will not be counted. Because obviously there is a condition on that. You need your Black Spirit Rage to activate those. They're not going to be as easy and as applicable in a battle scenario. But if you look outside of BSRs, we've got 4 total forward guards, one of them being a CC. For super armors, we have 6 total super armor moves in the pre-awakening. That's quite a lot, especially 4 forward guards, 6 super armors. One of these super armor moves is a definite CC. The other 2 super armor moves are kind of CCs. So the kind of CCs, if you look at Poseidon, it's got a 16-second cooldown. It's a knockdown on last hit. So it's a kind of, it might be really effective if it's a fast animation, or maybe the enemy can just walk out of it. And again, the second one that's a kind of CC is this one over here. It's a super armor, but it's a knockdown again on the last hit. So I'd imagine, again, depending on the animation, is whether or not it's going to be considered as a real protected CC. But at the same time, since it's a new class, it's pretty much going to protect CC because people don't know this yet. So they won't realize, like, at the end animation it's a CC. They'll be like, oh, look, he's doing an animation, I'm safe. It's not a CC. And then they try to do damage, bam, they get hit by the CC and get CC'd. But over time, the longer people play against this class and people play this class, I'd imagine that these two skills, depending on animation, might not be as strong as they seem on paper. And so far in the pre-awakening kit, we've got two iframes. One's on a lower cooldown, so if we look over here, it's not this one. This one here, Stun Trap, 5-second cooldown, but it's also the one with the counter-attack one. And it's also got a frontal guard. So it's a bit of a weird one. It's a 5-second cooldown. There is an iframe in it. We don't know where in the animation it's going to be because it's also got a forward guard attached to it. So it's going to be one of those transition skills that transitions between these two stances. But the main iframe we have is on a 13-second cooldown and it's got a knockdown. Kind of insane, but slightly higher cooldown. But there we go. So that's another iframe there. But that is the two iframes that the class has. And then I go into more detail. So FG iframe CC. Yes, we have one CC in the iframe, but it's the same CC as we have over here with the forward guard. This is the same skill because, like I said, there's a transition. The skill goes from forward guard into iframe, and the second iframe is a CC on a counter attack. So it's not as OP as it seems. But yeah, screenshot this here if you're interested and take a look at it later. I'll probably be posting this in Discords as well that I'm in, so other people can take a closer look. All right, guys, now I'm going to let the rest of the video play. Just a quick note, when I'm looking at these BSR skills in the video, I don't actually realize they're BSRs, and I start getting really excited, like, holy shit, this class seems OP. It still kind of seems relatively OP, pretty goddamn OP, actually. There's a lot about this class that I'm really liking. Again, this is only the pre-awakening. We don't know. We might get some kind of spammable iframe in the awakening. You know, Ninja's got that silent charge. It's not super spammable, but it is an iframe. There is a lot of potential from what I see on the ground floor. But again, this is all speculation. None of this might end up being true, but one can hope. But we can speculate as much as we want because this is the internet. Now enjoy the rest of the video. But the basic attack, I mean, not too much. I'm not really going to go over that. It's just basic attack with a 20% crit hit chance. Sounds interesting. No damage numbers for us there. Guessing this is just a different type of the same basic attack, or like the flow or whatever it is. But here's our first skill here. It's on a 1.5-second cooldown. And if we have a look at the effects, it says 1.5-second cooldown. It gives +6 to all evasion for 10 seconds. That's really strong, especially since it's on a 1.5-second cooldown. That you can keep this up all the time. And it says no collision on move, but there's nothing about it being an iframe or a super armor. So I'm going to probably link some stuff in the background here as I'm trying to think about how I would compare this to other skills. So I'd imagine this is a movement skill because it's got no collision. That means you have to move somewhere to collide with someone. So you've got a 1.5-second cooldown movement skill that gives you 6% evasion. So it's pretty strong, but very punishable. I'm assuming it's fast. I don't know if you are invisible, but still hittable during the animation. Something like maybe Ghost Greeting on the Ninja at the minute. It's a skill that moves you, but it's not an iframe, but it looks like it's an iframe because you do go invisible. Makes it slightly harder to track, unlike the Musa movement. But obviously, Ghost Greeting is a damage skill. This is not a skill that's going to do any damage to anyone. There's no damage numbers on it, and you'll be going through people. So in that sense, I see it being like a backwards chase on the Musa Meiwa. No, like in a Musa Meiwa, you can back chase through mobs, you can back chase through people, but you're still hittable during the animation. People could still do damage, but obviously the Musa scenario, you are in super armor. Here, if you get hit by a CC skill, you will get CC'd. So that's interesting. Depending on how far it moves you, depends on how strong it's really going to be. But it's still very good, being a 1.5-second cooldown with a 6% evasion buff. That sounds pretty insane, to be honest, personally. Now here we got 3 skills, so this kind of looks like the flows that will go on to the main skill. So this will be like the main skill, and if you hold it or press another input, you'll do these ones. That might mean these separate areas here. You might be, it even says flow over here. Jin, I don't know. It's Google translates a bit weird, but like I said, maybe these two you'd be able to put on your hotbar so you can do them separately. So it's pretty interesting, and let's take a look at it. So at the minute, these damage numbers for the first one seems pretty low. Just looking at the damage, 147% times 5. Now, we don't know as well, is this like level 1? We don't know if this like level 1 it does this damage. Is it level 2, level 3, absolute? We're not sure. I'm pretty sure we're probably not even going to get absolutes on release, so that's probably definitely what it isn't. If we do get it, that'd be pretty awesome. But then like this does do more damage, and it's hard to say. I'm not going to look at damage too much because, again, we don't know where this is in the skill upgrade and whether it's uniform, whether all the numbers we're going to see is the maxed out version of the skill or where all the numbers we're going to see is random place. Like this could be tier 1, this could be maxed out, or like tier 2 or tier 3. We don't know that, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it past this section of the video on that. But what we do know is 100% critical strike chance, so you're always going to crit with this one. It's going to have maximum 3 hits, or I guess that's max targets you can hit is 3, which is pretty low. Maybe it's maximum 3 hits. I don't think this would be maximum targets you could hit, because that's always going to be 10, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so the second flow as well, again, another 100% crits. Nothing to do with the hit rate there, 0%. No accuracy, I'm assuming the hit rate is 0% accuracy skill. This has up to 10 hits. Again, I'm not sure if this means 10 targets. So we'll have to wait further down the line if this is a real skill to figure out what that means. And then it's got down smash and obviously reduced damage in PvP. And the flow, again, another 100% crit. So we've got a lot of crits here. But the final move here is a super armor. This could technically be 3 separate skills as well. We don't know. This is all speculation. This could also all be fake. But here we go. We've got our first super armor skill here. And we got no damage numbers. All we know is 100% crit with a super armor and a down smash. And a bound on hits. Whether there might be an annotation later on saying PvE only, we don't know. If it is a super armor and a bound, that means we also got now 1 protected CC. I might make a little spreadsheet and do a counter and play that in the background whenever I go over a new super armor or something like that. Just to keep track, because there is a lot of skills. This is going to be probably a pretty long video. If you're not interested in it, I suggest really stop watching now, because it's only going to get drier as we go along. So next skill here, we've got a 15-second cooldown. So this is a large cooldown. I'd imagine it's going to be a hard-hitting move with a 15-second cooldown. So this tells me I'd be very surprised if this was an upgraded skill. This sounds like T1 numbers, so the skill at base level. Again, max 3 hits. I'm going to stop going over this because I'm not exactly sure what it means. If you guys know what it is, just leave it down in the comment section for me below. And hit all damage increased by 10 for 10 seconds when using a skill. So we've got a 15-second cooldown that also gives us a 10-second damage increase. Or a 10-second damage increase by 10. I don't know, melee damage, all damage. It says all damage, so okay, we'll just take that as all damage. Frontal guard, so it's a FG move. Invincible when the character disappears. Alright, it sounds pretty strong. It's a frontal guard when, so I'm assuming you're going to also give you, this is going to give you some kind of movement. So when, or it might not, it could be something like beheading where there's an invis in it, and during that invis you're an iframe, so it might not be that strong, because as we know, beheading isn't very, well, I'm going to say, it can be very strong if you use it properly, but it's very punishable. So depending on how fast this skill is, and if it's a movement as well, will give us more information. But over here it says knockdown on successful hit as well. This has a high chance of being a very OP skill when I look at it. You got an FG that transitions into an iframe that probably transitions back into an FG, an iframe, or it could be iframe that transitions to FG, or it could be FG that transitions to iframe. But at some point in the skill, You could do a knockdown, which is one of the better types of CCs because people can't emergency escape out of them. I don't know why that shouldn't be a thing, but again, it's just part of the game as it is now. If you can't emergency escape out of it, it's got forward guard, and it's got a CC, and it's got an iframe. Sounds pretty damn strong if you ask me. Next one here, we've got a 13-second cooldown, so a slightly higher cooldown as well on this one. Nothing too crazy yet. We're not in 20+ second cooldowns at the moment. So 13-second cooldown, damage. Okay, we don't know what that is, to be honest. Hit rate is 0%, telling us that again there's no accuracy on the skill. Up to 10 hits. Take that as you will. All damage increased by 20 for 10 seconds when using a skill. When using 8. I'm assuming this is Google Translate. I'd imagine it's this skill, not a skill. Again, it says frontal guard and invincibility. And knockdown. Is this the same skill? I think this is the same skill. But it's got a separate cooldown. So this tell me if you, I mean the icons, if you look at these icons, right? They look really similar. Obviously damage numbers and this stuff's different, but then this part's almost the same. So maybe if this has been data mined, this could be a revised version of this one, or this 13-second cooldown one could be a revised version of the 15-second cooldown, or the 15-second cooldown could be a revised version of the 13-second cooldown, and they just haven't deleted the file. So we're just seeing both. I wouldn't see us getting, it's got the same icon as well. So that what tells me again, everything I read you now could be completely changed or it could be completely fake by the time it hits live servers. But now let's look at, I mean, it could also maybe be a flow, but then the flow would be a different cooldown than the main skill. There's a lot of things this could be. We're not going to know until it gets released. But as a whole, if we just think this as one skill, pretty damn cool, if you ask me. Next one. So, cooldown, 12 seconds. Max 8, we don't know exactly what this means. The damage could be misleading. But we do know it's got a 20% crit chance. So this class has so far got a decent amount of crit chance modifiers on skills. And it's a floating on good hits with air attack modifier. So seems like this is going to be a pretty strong catch. Obviously it's not a protected catch, so you've got to use it cautiously. I'd imagine again this could be a revised version or a flow version of the top skill. It looks very similar icons here. Still got 20%, still got float, still got air attacks. Looks like the same skill but with a different cooldown. So again, could be revised, maybe again this version, this other version, or a completely different one altogether. We won't know until that comes out. And over here, 1 second cooldown affects frontal guard. So this sounds like something like Ghost Step. Plus 20 attack damage for 10 seconds. So this tells me it's something like a Ghost Step movement, but instead of an iframe movement, it's a frontal guard movement. It's on the same cooldown as Ghost Step is, the 1 second cooldown. So it's something you're going to be weaving in between your skills, and you're going to be FG with it. So you're going to have to be very aware of your surroundings when you're using this skill. It's going to be a lot weaker in larger scale scenarios. The more people there are, the harder it is going to be to lock down this movement properly. But in 1v1s, this is extremely powerful, having that 1 second on demand, not iframe, forward guard. Whether or not it moves us, I don't know. I'd imagine it does. But you know, we won't know until it comes out. Over here, we've got a 3 second cooldown on this skill. So it looks like a movement skill, just looking at the animation there, or the icon. Again, this doesn't tell us too much. We've got a 100% crit chance. That's pretty cool. 9% plus 9% to all crit. Plus 9% to all hit chances for 10 seconds when using. Yo. That's really good. Hit chances. Now, that sounds to me like accuracy. It can't be anything. I mean, technically, maybe it's like 9% ignore resistances. I doubt that. This sounds more like accuracy. So we've got plus 9% accuracy, maybe depending on exactly how it translates, for 10 seconds. And it's a 3 second cooldown, so you can keep this up a lot. Rigid on hitting success. Sounds like maybe it could be some kind of CC. Rigid is just not a very good translation. Or it could just be like, it's a collision target. If you collide, it's going to stop you. I'm not really sure. It's got down attack modifier, down smash modifier, obviously reduced damage. And it says here, damage reduced during cooldown. So it sounds like you can spam this move. So you can really keep this plus 9% accuracy, we just call it from here, up at all times. And you can spam it off cooldown every 3 seconds. And that would give you the chance of doing the CC if this is a CC. And you'll do more damage, obviously, when it's off cooldown. Interesting. Maybe it's some kind of movement as well, because it does look like here that the character is moving. So we'll see. We'll see. This probably is the same as we just saw, because the animation is the same. This says plus 15%. I'd probably say this version is going to come out. 15% accuracy, or whatever this actually means, sounds pretty strong. But, you know, we'll see. We will see. Or it could be the upgraded version, thinking about it. This might be the base level, right? For 60% damage. This might be the upgraded version with 1,200. This sounds like a more damaging skill right here. So maybe when you upgrade it, it goes up to this damage, and then it becomes plus 15. Holy smokes, if that's the case. You can go back and apply that to everything I set up here. These could be the upgraded versions. But let's keep going. So 10-second cooldown here. Can't tell much about the damage. We're going to see it again in a minute. So yeah, maybe this is the, if you upgrade this skill, it becomes like this. So let's look at the bottom one here. So 8-second cooldown. You got decent damage numbers there. 100% crit. Floating on hits. So some kind of suck, but only for PvE. So kind of like the Musa's Cross Crusher, where the suck only works in PvE. Before ATT turn only applies to monsters. I don't know what that means. I really don't know what that means. Air attack, air smash, and damage boost in PvP. Pretty interesting stuff. Again, we're going to look at the bottom version here. It loses, it's a 4-second cooldown. 4-second cooldown, we got a 20%. Lots of crit chances in this character. I'm liking that. I'm liking all these crit chances. All hit increase plus 20 for 10 seconds upon successful hits. No effect during cooldown. So this tells me again you can spam it during cooldown, but you don't get these effects during cooldown. Yeah, I think. Assassin magic attack stiffness. So stiff does not apply effect when waiting time for reuse. Again, so this is a stiff attack that you can spam, and when you spam it, you don't get the stiff, and you don't get this all hit increase plus 20. Is that accuracy? I'm not sure. All hit plus 20, exactly what that means. If it is accuracy, I mean this class is looking stronger by the minute. If this is accuracy, because goddamn. It looks good. It looks good. All right. For some of you that might be paying attention, you can see there's a big jumper in time. I got really excited when looking at this next skill, and something else I just noticed about the skill above it. I got so excited, I kind of like pushed back on my chair, and I had one of my wires tangled up in my chair that was connected to my computer. So I knocked down my computer, and it caused me a lot of problems. But I got it all fixed out, and we're all back up and running now. So going back to this skill, something I noticed, it said effects, assassin front back attack. I don't know what this means, but if this is something like block jump, where it teleports you to the back, like if you're in front of someone, it teleports you to the back of the enemy, that's fucking insane. That is actually, I don't think, it can't be. Like, it cannot be like block jump. If this is like block jump on a 4-second cooldown with a stiff, and you can spam it when it's... No. You can spam it when it's off cooldown, it just doesn't stiffen, but you can just get to their back. No. I mean, look, if this is real, if it is probably not what I think it is, but if it is what I think it is, Jesus Christ, dude, that's an insane ability, but it's most likely not. But I mean, I can get you. If you want to get excited about it, you know, I'm going to get excited about it. And I got excited for this one because we just don't know what this is. All we know is got this little hourglass. So is this some kind of like... See, I heard Frosty once talking about the Hashashin. They're like, oh, you can like place a sandstorm somewhere and then you can teleport back to the sandstorm. So I don't know, is that this maybe the skill that he heard about? So this is like, you can activate the skill, right? And when you activate the skill, there'll be something that turns up, whether it's where you're located or where you're looking. There'll be some type of sandstorm that will show up either on yourself or wherever your hit marker is. And then you have a certain amount of time to be able to like press the skill again, and it will take you there, right? But then it's an hourglass and it says return magic. Another thing that Frosty said, another thing that I experienced in some of like Smite games that I've played, there's a character in Smite called Kronos where his ultimate is he turns back time. And what that does is what you think. It turns back, I don't know, maybe like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I'm not sure. But your character would literally go into an iframe and he'll travel back to where he was 30 seconds ago. And all the damage and everything that happened to you will get cancelled. So if you get really low, you'll go back there, then you're back to whatever health you were at the time you activated the skill. And then on top of that, all your cooldowns will reset, except for the skill that you just used, obviously. Well, your ultimate, because that's your ultimate. But if it's anything like that, that'd be freaking insanely broken. We have no idea, but let's be honest, we have no idea what this is. It just says Assassin, Return Magic, so we will see when that comes out. I'm very excited. This is a unique skill for this class, and I love new, unique things that come out in games like this, and Smite, and any other kind of game, something different that is you haven't seen before in that genre, in that game. Well, I didn't say that genre. In that game, it's always exciting to me, so I'm really interested to see what that is. Next one, we've got a 20-second cooldown. It says Hashashin damage attack max. I don't know what that means. 0%. 7 Assassin Sandstorm. Not sure. Maybe this is connected to that. Like you activate this skill to put the Sandstorm down, and then you can use this skill to teleport to it. Maybe. Complete speculations. I have no idea what this is, because it doesn't seem like it really does anything. We know its effect is Assassin damage attack max. I don't know. Maybe this is another unique skill. I'm not sure. It might be unique and connected to the other one. But either way, I'm very, very excited. It also says Shy decreased PvP damage. I don't know. You do less damage to Shies with this skill, or it makes Shies do less. Unlikely it makes Shies. Shies don't do any damage anyway. That's pretty irrelevant. But, you know, that's interesting. Very interesting. So we've got another one here. So we look at the upgraded version. Shadow cutting effects, 750 times 4. Not crazy damage numbers there. We don't have any accuracy on it. 10 hits. Plus 15 health on each hit with a successful hit. Sounds pretty good for PvE over here. PvP is a bit meh. I mean, is it got super armor? If hitting is successful, decrease all defenses. So this sounds like a PvE skill right here, but I mean, it's not terrible. You can't really use this in a group scenario effectively and consistently, because you're just going to get CC'd since it's not protected. But in theory, if you do get it off successfully, you get some benefits of an extra tankiness with the health regen, and you give them a debuff. It's probably a good like filler as well in your combos. You can throw this in there as a filler before you do your next attack to reduce their defenses, give yourself a little bit of regen. So for 1v1s, it's probably a pretty good combo attack. Next one here, look at the upgraded version again. 8-second cooldown, 945 times 7. That sounds like pretty decent damage numbers there. 30% chance for 30% increase in crit chance, which is pretty good. Lots of crit chances I'm seeing at the moment. Really liking that. Attack range increase, so we got extra range. It's another super armor. It's a knockdown on monsters only. So it's not a protected CC. This is a PvE CC right here. It's got down attack and down smash. Again, this could be another good filler as well in terms of PvP. This looks like it's going to do very good damage. You've got some modifiers on it, and you got crit on it, and it's a super armor, so you can even use it in large scale scenarios, as long as it's not too large, because you'll just get blown the fuck up if you don't have PA. Next one here looks like another movement skill. Maybe it's a Rabam. So you've got like a little purple thing here and like an orange thing there. So it looks like this side of the animation is on half of it, and then maybe like one of these purple skills is on the other half, or like bottom left corner. I'll have a quick look. But yeah, just it looks like two different skills here, so maybe it's a rib bomb, I don't know. But it's on a 5-second cooldown, pretty good damage numbers. It's pretty good damage right there, 1,324%, but it's ×4, so it seems pretty decent. Hit rate, so no extra accuracy in this one, but we've already got a lot of accuracy buffs in this pre-awakening kit that I'm seeing that linger on for longer than the actual skill, so you can keep accuracy modifiers up on you at all times by the sounds of it. Up to 10 hits. Upon hitting success, plus 50 heal. That's pretty good. So that's a huge heal. Probably very good for PvE. Again, effects not... And again, it has no effect during cooldown, which tells me you can use this move outside of cooldown as well, just as damage. It's not protected. Down attack, maybe again, this could be another good filler skill. We won't know until we see like animation lengths and stuff like that. Next one here, 5-second cooldown. Effects, Assassin Guard ATT. I don't know what that means. Does that mean like maybe it's a forward guard? Uncertain what Assassin Guard ATT means. Then we've got 20% crit chance. We got 0 hit rate. If this hit successful, 50 hit every 3 seconds for 30 seconds. This to me sounds like some kind of poison dot. Some kind of dot damage over here. And then we have an FG as well. So it's a forward guard and invincible when you disappear. And stun on successful counterattack. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know exactly what this could be. So I'm going to read the Musar skill to see what it says for their pre-awakening... to see what it says for their pre-awakening block, because I know like if you hit the Musars when they're holding their block and pre-awakening, it automatically does a counter attack that CCs you. I'm going to see if there's similar words used there, but again, there is some type of iframe and you go invisible during this ability, and it's got an FG and it's got a CC, but I don't know if it says successful counter attack, so it's a bit of a weird CC. I'm interested to see what this is going to be. It seems pretty strong. If it does also have movement in it, then that's pretty good. The movement options are looking pretty decent at the minute. Next skill, we're going to look at the bottom one. 3-second cooldown. Very low cooldown over here. Hit damage, 690 × 6. Pretty decent damage for a low cooldown with 100% crit hit chance. No effect during cooldown, right? So that tells me again you can spam this move outside of cooldown. Doesn't have any accuracy modifiers, up to 10 hits, plus 15% to all hit ratio increase for 10 seconds when using skill. Again, you can't use it during, this doesn't apply during cooldown, so it tells me you can spam this skill as well. We already went through that actually. Floating on success, again, doesn't happen when it's on cooldown. So we got a float skill that's got a plus 15 to all hit ratio. Maybe that is accuracy, I don't know. That could be accuracy, plus 15% accuracy. I don't know what hit rate is then. I thought hit rate would be accuracy, but it's, you know, it's translations. It's a bit weird. So maybe that's plus 15% accuracy. We got float on successful hit. We got 100% crit. Pretty strong move over here. If it's got movement in there as well, we don't know. Maybe it does. Now we have a longer cooldown here. It's a 16-second cooldown. This is 142% damage. It's pretty low. But then multiplied by 21. That's interesting. Maybe like this tells me this skill is hitting a lot. So maybe this is some kind of sandstorm skill. I don't know. Maybe we can connect it to one of the skills that we saw earlier in the video. You know, you throw your sandstorm out there. Every single hit doesn't do a lot of damage. But if someone's stuck in that whirlwind because you've CC'd them in it, then it does a lot of damage. The stun only applies in super armor. Sorry, super armor. I wish. The stun only applies against monsters, so it doesn't have a CC in PvP, and it is a super armor as well. It's meant to say with a 10% crit chance. Pretty good. It says hit up to 5 objects. Interesting. That's interesting. Knockback on last hit. So maybe in large scale it's not that bad. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. If you throw this in the ball, people don't catch it and they sit in it, or someone moves into it towards the end of the skill, it can knock them out. But if they're not CC'd, or if they are paying attention and not robots, you can probably just walk out of this. I don't see any slow modifiers on any skills at the minute, which is fine. I hate slows. Slows are really effective, but in PvP, dude, I freaking hate when people put slows on me. It sucks. But you know, everyone else got slows. So if you put some slows on this class too, I got no problem with that. But as a whole, I don't like slows in PvP. Next one over here, look at the upgraded versions. We've got 13-second cooldown, 864 times 13. That sounds like pretty good damage right there. Frontal guard when using the skill, stiffness before hitting, knockback last hit. Stiffness before hitting and knockback on last hit. So times 13, this is telling me this is probably not as long as the skill animation as the previous one that we just looked at, because that's 21. There's some kind of other sandstormy thing that lingers on for a decent amount of time, so you can step out of it to not get that knockdown. It says stiffness before hitting, which is interesting. Maybe like as you're winding up to do the skill, you're throwing a sandstorm out, but you do like an animation before throwing the sandstorm out, and that animation connects to someone. You hit them with a stiff, then you throw the animation. And that'd be pretty interesting because then it has a knockdown on the end, right? So if you stiff someone, is the stiff going to last long enough for them to also be hit by the knockdown? Because if it does, what that will allow you to do in your combos is you hit them with a stiff, you can throw in filler skill, and then it's automatically going to knock them down for you. So then you can throw in another filler skill for more damage to do 2 big damage skills. And then you can hit them with a CC to get another knockdown or any other kind of major CC, float, whatever it will be, and then do another filler skill. And if there's fast animations, maybe 2 filler skills at the end. So that sounds like a lot of combo potential if that's the case, but stiffnesses don't last very long, so maybe it doesn't work. So it could be you stiff them, and then you have to immediately apply another... And then you have to immediately either use 2 very fast skills back to back, like a very fast filler skill with no CC into a fast CC skill. Or if you don't have that option available to you, you go straight from the stiff into another knockdown kind of CC. And then you have freedom. You can just throw filler skills because the skill itself is going to apply the knockdown again at the end, right? So maybe that's more plausible. Maybe that's more plausible than the first scenario. We will see. Monk, melee evasion rate plus 1%. So this sounds like the passive that you upgrade for all your characters. You know, the evasion rates, the DRs, different classes, the crit chance. Different classes have different things. So this one's more on the evasion side. So evasion gear is probably going to work very good with him. Over here, we don't know what this is. 187 times 25, assuming some kind of sandstorm thing again. 50% crit chance, so we've got more crit chance on there. When hitting is successful, the attack speed is reduced by 20% for 10 seconds. It's a pretty good goddamn debuff right there. When hitting is successful, cast like attack and casting speed reduced by 20%. 20% decrease in movement speed for 10. So here's our slow. Remember those slows that I was talking about. So we've got the 20% movement slow. 20% isn't that much, but it is noticeable for maybe Musars and stuff. It's not super noticeable, but it is annoying. Getting hit by any kind of slow is annoying, especially when it starts stacking in large scale with other slows. It's just extra annoying. And it's also a super armor and a knockdown on last hit. But it's last hit again, so it's probably going to be pretty goddamn strong poke, I'd imagine. Like, not as in damage poke, but as in utility poke. So you throw this skill out there, they move slower, they do their skills slower, you're in super armor, so if they don't have a grab or if the grab's on cooldown, they can't do anything to you. And if they're silly enough to step back in it later, they'll get knocked down, but they can easily get out of that scenario of getting knocked down, I would imagine. And Sandstorm, suck attack, knockdown. So I'm guessing the knockdown comes from the Sandstorm. When hitting successfully, draws an opponent. Hold on. Does that mean suck? Is this a suck? Like a Valkyrie, it'll suck you, then it will knock you down and apply. Wow. I mean, if it's a suck and it's got all these, god damn, that is a freaking strong skill, brother. Holy moly. I'm really liking what I'm reading. I'll tell you that much. I'm really liking what I'm reading. That sounds crazy. And then Shy PvP decrease, whatever. We do less damage to Shies. Anyway, so next one. Effect 422 times 19. So again, smaller number with a higher multiplier. 100% crit chance. If hitting is successful, decrease all defense by 10 for 10 seconds. So another DP debuff here. I think this class is going to be really good for PvE. We've got a lot of debuffs across the board. I know they don't stack, but it's going to be so easy to apply them. It's giving us a lot of flexibility. Another weird thing, though, I don't see a cooldown on this skill. I'm assuming there is a cooldown, right? Let's look at the bottom one here. Oh, okay, so this is a, wow. That is a whoppingly large number. 1,236 times 19? That's interesting. But we still got a 10 DP debuff. We also have an evasion debuff of 15% for 10 seconds. We also have, if hitting is successful, all hit ratio decrease for 10 seconds, 15%. I don't really know what that means. Does that mean we're reducing their accuracy by 15%? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Sounds strong. Whatever. I mean, it's 15% of something, right? So, interesting. It's also a super armor, and it's a knockdown, down attack, air attack. Yo, hold on a minute, son. This crazy damage skill has got a 100% crit chance. It's got a knockdown, and it's got a super armor with down attack and air attack modifiers. And it gives an evasion debuff, and it gives a DP debuff, and something else is a negative for your opponent. Yikes, dude. That's crazy. This class seems crazy, man. This can't be right. This can't be right. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm really getting interested now. 14 seconds is our next cooldown. 562 times 21. Again, very high multiplier here, so I'm guessing it's a longer lasting move. 50% crit chance. Stun on success to monsters only, so there is no CC on this one. Super armor whilst using skill. Knockdown on last hit. Knockdown on last hit. Again, it's probably going to be hard to get someone on the last hit. I'd imagine they can walk out of it or just move out of your way. But you are protected. However, obviously, it seems like so far this class is pretty susceptible to being grabbed, because some of the skill animations we have seen is pretty long. But still, it sounds, even though we are susceptible to being grabbed, we don't even know what the Awakening Kit is, what kind of movement's in there. This class sounds insane. This class sounds really insane. I'm excited. And then again, another one of the passives, every time you level it up, so you get attack speed plus 0.5%. That's pretty goddamn good as well. Here we got increased max spirit by 200. I'm assuming it's something like a brace or like the Musa spirit. Where I'm assuming it's like MP, WP, that will just get that back for you. I doubt it'll be stamina. I don't think there's any skill in the game that just gives you stamina back. I mean, you can use a skill to regen stamina whilst the skill animation is being used, but I don't think there's literally a skill that regenerates stamina. I'm pretty sure this is just your MP, WP. And then we have a passive, just effect assassin passive. We don't know what that is at all. Another skill here doesn't tell us about any kind of cooldowns, so I don't know. It's a kind of flow as well, so maybe a lot of these skills that I've read above can be flowed with it, or one of them can be flowed with it, or two of them can be flowed with it. We don't know, so it sounds like it's just something you can put on the end of a skill. What skills, we're not sure. But then here we go. When hitting successfully, the attack speed, so it's a 20% attack and casting speed reduction, and a movement speed reduction. So imagine maybe like all the sandstorm. Maybe it's just what could this be? Like all the sandstorms just have this as their passive, as their flow, or when you activate a skill that applies a sandstorm, you can also press A or spacebar on PC, whatever system you're on, and it will apply this flow, and this flow does these crazy awesome things. I'm not sure. I kind of have to retract my earlier statement about not seeing any slows, because that sounds pretty OP. We're not sure again. I'm not sure what it's going to be when it comes out, but it's got a lot of potential of being broken, or maybe it's just on one skill that you can add it on, and it's a nice utility skill right there. Utility flow. Over here, 12 seconds icon looks familiar. This icon looks the same as this one. 12, 19, has got 100% crit, 100% crit. Super armor when using knockdown, not against monsters, down attack. So this is just an essay that is it the same? I can't remember what we read earlier. No, it's different. It's a different skill. This is very different over here. Again, maybe this is revised, because maybe this is the flow to this specific skill. So maybe I should actually look, because the icons are the same, right? So you activate this skill, and then this is the flow, like a pet flow that maybe witch wizards have. You unlock Cataclysm, and then you can activate the flow for Cataclysm, and it just gives it more damage. Or maybe, you know, you unlock this skill first. Once it's maxed out, you can then get the flow. Or once you unlock the skill, you can get this is the flow on top to give it. But nah, I mean, look at that damage. That can't be added damage on top of this damage. That's not even possible. It's not even possible, because that would literally one-shot people. That can't be right. I don't know. Put in the comment section down below what you think it might be. I'm just looking for another icon that might match, which I can't find. What I was doing there was looking for another icon that could have matched this one here, but I didn't find it. I didn't look underneath though. No. This looks like the bottom half. Sorry if it's all over the place. I know I'm a bit conspiratory sometimes, but that looks like the bottom half of this skill, maybe, right? Maybe, probably not. I don't know. It's hard to say. It is hard to say. But anyway, so just if we were to look at this separately, decent damage right there, 100% crit. It's a super armor with no CC except for PvE. Down attack, air attack, and the reduced damage, 12-second cooldown. Sounds pretty dope. This one over here, 605 times 25. That's a smaller number with a large multiplier. 50% crit chance. Sounds like a pretty good damaging skill still. When hitting 20% attack speed, 20%. I'll take it back. This class is full of it. It's full of the freaking insanity. All right, so more debuffs for the enemy. I think people are going to hate this class, fighting against this class. Maybe grab classes, not so much from what I've seen so far. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out when it comes out. But it is a super armor and a knockdown on last hit. Again, this has to be like easy. All these protected CCs that have like last hit on it, I'm assuming they're easy for the opponent to move away from the last hit. Because if it's not, it'd be pretty goddamn strong. I'm seeing a lot. I'm gonna have to watch this video back and then put everything in a spreadsheet for super armors and CCs, and then like separately protected CCs, and we can go through the count at the end. And just remember, this is pre-awakening only. Next one here, 20-second cooldown. Hashashin damage attack max. I think we saw this skill earlier. We don't know much about it. Yeah, we don't know. I don't know what this could be. It doesn't have, it says damage attack max like we saw earlier, but there's no damage numbers. So I'm not really sure exactly. This could be a new cool thing specific for the Hashashin class. And then over here we've got a 7-second cooldown. Spin hit damage 148 times 5. This sounds like T1 skill, T1 damage to be honest, or it could just be naturally a low damaging skill. But then it's also got 100% crit chance against monsters, 50% in PvP, 5 objects. If hitting is successful, decrease another DP debuff, and another super armor. Yikes, another goddamn super armor. Oh, well, I like it, dude. I like it. Is this the Ook of the Assassin? Have they made a striker for assassin classes? So it sounds like a lot of Ook moves right now. I see a lot of super armor moves. 13 seconds. So next skill's got a 13-second cooldown. It just says effect, assassin skill 1. It's a float, air attack, assassin skill 2. No idea. Again, it might be some kind of movement. This here indicates movement to me when I look at that picture, but we won't know until it comes out. Probably said that a million times now, so hopefully you're not playing a drinking game. Anyway, cooldown, 6 seconds. Hit damage, 1,000 times 5. Interesting, not bad. 100%, that's going to help for the crit chance. If successful, so another kind of like poison over here, damage over time. Float, so it's another float. Air attack, damage reduced in PvP. Very nice, 6 seconds, relatively spammable right there. 5-second cooldown. We have, again, not bad damage, 1,120 times 6. Explosive hit damage, so this tells me you can probably cancel out of it. It's a longer animation skill that can be cancelled before you get to the explosive damage, maybe, I don't know, all speculation, but that is a lot more damage on top. So pretty good, with a 50% crit chance. If hitting success, so some kind of bleed again, knockback, floating, down attack, air attack. Nice. No, and that's the last skill. Nice. I mean, that is insane. I'm just going to take a minute and do a little spreadsheet on the side for all the super armor stuff that I've listed here. And I'm going to come back, look at the spreadsheet, and then go over my final thoughts. And I'll see you there. Guys, that's the end of the video. One last thing I noticed is there was no grab from what I could see in there, unless I missed it. If I missed anything, I apologize. I'm pretty sure I went through everything as thoroughly as I could, but I'm really excited. There might still be a grab possible for the Awakening kit. I've heard rumors that there has one grab. Again, everything here is rumors, so take it with a pinch of salt. But either way, it's got a little bit more hype in my sales, and I honestly can't wait. I know this has been a really long video. Trust me, I've been editing and making it all goddamn day. So I hope you do appreciate that. I'll leave the spreadsheets in the Discords that I'm in. And the spreadsheet section, obviously, we interjected and added that earlier on in the video for you guys so you can get that information early. I didn't want to make you wait an hour to see the spreadsheet. That wouldn't have been fair. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my content, think about subscribing. Please leave a like on the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.